I'm about to cut a hole in the middle of this towel and magically turn it into the cutest thing your kid will have at the pool this summer. Listen, summer's here, and I'm going to be spending most of it at the pool and the beach. That's just the plan. Which means I'm going to be living at the pool, the splash pad, the beach. Wherever there is water and snacks, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be there. And if you have kids, you already know towels are not enough. They're not. They fall off, they drag on the ground, and then they get soaked, and then the kid cries. I'm not speaking from experience whatsoever here. And then your kid falls because they're tripping on the towel, and everybody's in their feelings, and a fun day at the pool turns into an absolute disaster dumpster fire of mayhem and crying. No more.
No more.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat that we will not be doing that this summer, and neither should you. Today, I'm going to show you how to take a regular beach towel, and this is a bath towel. You could use a hand towel. You could use any other towel, because we're going to cut this one as well as a hole in this one, and we're going to combine them to make a really cute little hooded poncho that stays on, keeps kiddos warm, and they won't trip over it and get completely in their feelings, at least about this. I mean, they'll probably end up crying about other stuff, but you guys, I'm not a magician, okay? Do what I can. So let's get into this super easy, beginner-friendly tutorial. I got these towels from Marshall's. I think this one was $16.99. This one's for my daughter, and she had to have a Kate Spade, of course. So this one was $19.99. And then this bath towel was $10. But you don't have to spend that to make this project. You can use any towel that you can find / afford / decide you want to cut up. If this is your first time making it, might I recommend that you grab a beach towel that's already on its way out to practice on, and then you may end up loving that one again. It's completely customizable to your budget. Okay, so here's the basic idea of how this works. My son is 5 years old, so he is, about this tall. And when you fold this over, this will be the back, and then the front has that cute little trim on the bottom. Oh yeah, I guess do they both have that? Yeah, both sides have that. Anyway, when you fold this over, it creates sort of a poncho effect. So the hole is going to need to go right here. Let's talk about the hood part. So let me I haven't even taken the price tag. I got excited, okay? Now, I tried to pick a complementary color. I feel like this blue will look really cool with this green. And then I was going to make my daughter one as well, and I thought the green would be adorable with the strawberry. So you should be able to get 2 hoods for a child-sized towel out of a regular-sized bath towel. And again, you could use hand towels if you want, if you're doing it for like a 5-year-old. I've used those in the past as well. Here's what we're shooting for, okay? Picture with me that the hood is going to be like this, okay? I have an adult-sized head. My child's head is a smidge smaller, but we want it to match up right here. How silly this looks. So what we need to think about is how far down it needs to go and if it matches up here. I look like Yenta, the matchmaker from Fiddler on the Roof.
He's handsome, he's tall! That is, from side to side.
Okay, before we cut into this towel, because once we cut, we commit. And before we commit, let me tell you something I've been working on lately. I spent a lot of my 20s and 30s in this all or nothing mindset when it came to life. Like if I couldn't do something perfectly, or if I wasn't completely sure of how something was going to turn out, I wouldn't even get started on it. And honestly, I'm talking about way bigger things than just sewing here. Like trying new things, taking care of myself, even asking people for help. It's not something that comes very naturally to me. And I think it's really easy to get stuck in that cycle of just waiting for the perfect time to come up to be that thing, or the perfect situation for that to come together. And the truth is, it probably isn't, unless you make it happen. Sometimes taking one small, not so perfect, slightly chaotic step is still a step. Like me cutting into this towel and just hoping for the best. And that's one of the reasons I want to share BetterHelp with you guys. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that makes starting therapy so much easier. because you don't have to go anywhere. So if like actually getting out of the house to go to see a therapist is what's holding you back, this removes that completely. Their goal is to make therapy feel way less overwhelming. All you have to do is go on their website and take a really quick little quiz, and you'll get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can begin your therapy as soon as possible. Also, if you decide that the person that you're talking to is not the right fit for you, that's totally fine. You can switch therapists at any time, because not everybody is going to be the right fit, and that's what they're aiming to do, is to find the right person for you so that you can get the most out of your therapy sessions. And you can talk to them however and wherever is convenient to you, whether that's through video, text, or messaging. You could be sitting in your closet hiding from your kids, just trying to get a few minutes peace to talk to somebody. Wherever, they will meet you where you are. Over 6 million people have used BetterHelp, which I think is extraordinary and very reassuring if you're brand new to the idea of seeking out therapy to make you feel better. So if you've been thinking about trying therapy, you can click on the link in my description or go to betterhelp.com/shesewsseams to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get the scissors out and figure out how we're going to make this into a poncho. I thought it might be helpful to actually see the poncho before we do it, so that you sort of understand why I'm cutting things the way that I'm cutting. So I went ahead and made that poncho with the fabric I was holding it, and I'm going to make another one for my daughter in this video. So here is how the poncho is going to look. Now, I ended up taking a good bit out of the length of this towel based on my son's height. So when he wears this, it won't drag on the floor. So as you can see, we've got I wonder if I could put this on. It'd probably look ridiculous on me. Oh yeah, I look great.
You look great.
You can imagine this on a tiny person and not me. This is how it's going to look. You guys, I can't write this stuff. This is how the poncho is meant to work. Now, my son is a tiny person. He's 5, so this is going to be way closer to the floor and a lot bigger on his head and his arms. This is what we're going for, though. You are welcome. And it's super easy to come up with this. I made this in about 20 minutes, you guys. It's so simple. So my daughter is taller. She's almost 11. So I'm going to use an oversized beach towel. This probably will still be too big for her, but she can grow into it. So here's the towel that we picked for her. This is it folded over. And again, we're going to put the hole right here with the hood. So go ahead and fold your towel at the middle. Now, once you get it fold it in half again. And mark this part right here with a dot or a clip or a pin. That's showing you the true center of your towel. And that's helpful information. So let me show you. Let me take the tags off. Yeah, I feel like somebody's going to make me into a meme from trying on my son's hooded towel. The things I do for y'all. So for his towel, my measurement I used, and this is a pretty good toddler. Well, I mean, you can even see that fit me fine. I used 22 inches was what I was shooting for in my measurements. So I'm going to do that again for my daughters, because obviously it fit me fine. Other than the towel being too small, if it were bigger towel sizes, it would still fit me fine. So let's shoot for 22 as our magic number today. So I'm going to use the other half of the towel that I used for my son's hood, which is awesome because you can get 2 hoods out of one towel. And let me show you, I'll lay it down here. I'm going to show you how we're going to cut this. This is not wildly scientific or mathematical. We're sewing with our feelings today. So you can see here, this is my center dot. And what I'm going to do is half of 22 is 11. So I'm going to find the center. So here's my 11 mark at 5.5 inches. I'm going to lay this as straight across as I can get it. And I'm going to draw a line. There's your line. And all we're going to do is take either a rotary cutter or a pair of scissors. We're going to cut that line. And you can see that gives us a hole, okay, in the middle of our towel. And if you want to, you could take this to your child at this point and see if it fits over their head. Fits over mine. And actually, it's a little bit snug. So I may actually make this, well, let me show you a little trick of what I'm going to do. So straighten this back out. It doesn't take much to add in room in that circle for your neckline. Okay, so straighten it out, and I am going to just draw a tiny half circle. It's about an inch. And that's going to add a significant, I'm going to cut it. Make sure your fabrics are stacked on top of each other so it's even. And that's going to add a significant amount to our hole that will make this fit much more comfortably. Let's try it again. Oh yeah. I think we could even make it just a smidge bigger. Why not? All right, lay it back down again. I'm just going to trim. I'm just eyeballing it. You do it however you want. I'm going to trim just a smidge more. Less is more, okay? So just take tiny bits of the half circle out until you get it into a place that's fairly comfortable. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Oh, that is perfection. Yeah, that turned out great. Which means now we need to cut our towel to be about the same size. So let's measure the hole, just like how long it is, what we ended up with. It is about 14 inches now. Cool. So that's what we're shooting for. To make this match, we're going to grab the towel, go to your uncut end, or whatever end that is. Oh, look at the little Tommy Hilfiger tag. And measure over. So this part right here is where your face will be. And so you're going to measure over 14 inches from there. Mark that, or you can just snip into it. Okay. And you can cut this straight, but this would be the top of the hood then, and it'll be kind of pointy like an elf. So if you don't want that, you can just draw a half circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get rid of some of that. So I'm going to cut this with my scissors. It's just a half, make it look like a hood. Or if you're nervous, go get a hoodie from your child's closet and trace that. That's fine too. Again, just err on the side of less is more. You can always trim more off. You can't add it back in. So I'm going to cut all the way to the top here, and then I'm just going to snip right through it. You don't have to do this step. You could always just sew it like the way, starting down here, but then it creates sort of a crease. Okay, so here's our hood. I am going to, there's not really super right and wrong sides, but because this tag is on the inside, this tells me it's the wrong side. So I'm going to switch these around and match them up that way. And we are going to sew along this curve. I'm going to do this on my serger. You can do it with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch on your machine. Whatever is easiest for you. They work the same. Plus, it's a towel for the pool, so it's not that serious. All right, let me show you on the serger. So again, we're sewing the arc of the hood. So I'm going to lift my presser foot up. I'm going to start right here. You're sewing through a lot, so make sure you have nice new needles on your serger. I would recommend like a 90-14 for this. And remember to let your feed dogs do the work. I am not pushing or pulling this fabric. It's going on its own accord because the feed dogs, the little serrated sleds underneath, are pulling this fabric through at an even rate. I don't have to do anything, and you shouldn't. My knives on the side here are cutting my fabric and making it nice and clean edged as I go. Serger is a wonderful tool. Makes your projects go way faster. And this is a thick towel. You don't have to pick as thick of a towel as I did. I just like to suffer, so that's why I did it. Now you're stopping every few inches here and making sure that those fabrics are stacked right on top of each other. Okay, so much fluff. Now when you turn this right side out, you'll see you've got a hood now. Yay! So we're going to trim this tail so you can see that it's hood-like. Isn't that cute? And it's rounded, so it like matches the shape of your head, which if you want to look like a little forest imp, you can just leave that pointy thing. It's adorable if you do. It's totally fine. You can even put a little bow on the end. Oh, but my daughter's 11 and she would probably throw it back at me and be like, ha, no thanks. So I'm trying to meet her where she is. Now go back to your towel, and this is where we need to do a little bit of thinking. So find the front of your towel. Mine is where it says Kate Spade. I know that's the front. So I'm going to open this hole up so that my front and back. I'm holding the front and the back, and I'm going to mark the back with a clip. This is important because if you don't get this right, then you will attach the hood either sideways or backwards. It's just going to be a hot mess, and we don't want that. We want good sewing experiences. So take your hood now and remind yourself where the hood is. For me, it's this thick border. I know that's the front. So the back is right here where this seam is. And I'm going to lay that with the pretty sides touching. I'm going to match those up, and I'm going to put a clip there. And I'm going to start working my way towards the front, just matching the seams up exactly as I encounter them. And on this particular version of the hooded poncho, the middle part is not going to meet under your chin. It's going to end just a little bit before. And I do this for two reasons. First of all, that crisscross is going to be, if you crisscrossed it, you'd be sewing through 3 layers of towel, which for those of you with new sewing skills, that might feel scary. And second of all, it's really hard to make those crisscrosses match up if it's your first time doing it. So if this makes it easier, then do it this way. We don't have to match anything this way. We're just going to let the sides come in as far as they want to, and there'll be just maybe a 3 or 4 inch space right at the neck where there's no crisscross. This is also great if your kid has like issues with sensations like around their neck and they don't like that. This will fix that because it'll make it nice and wide for you. So we're going to clip all the way around here. And before we sew this, so you can see here, I've got that space. This will be right at the front of the neck. Towel in my nose. Oh, I'm going to have to change outfits before I leave the house again. Before we sew this, I want you to do a cross check to make sure that you have this mocked up correctly, that your right sides are touching. And when you hold this up, your hood should be hanging to the back. And then this is your front. And I know that because it says Kate Spade. So this is ready to sew. We're going to take it over to the serger. Now, trying to decide, do I want to show you this on this? Let me show you on the sewing machine and then I'll finish it on the serger, just in case I know a lot of you don't have a serger. So I want to make this accessible for everybody. So let's switch over to the machine and I'm going to put, let's see, pink thread, green thread. Oh, I have this pretty pink color. Let's do that. Why not? You won't even really be able to see it anyway. Turn your inside of your neckline up so that it's all sticking up in the middle. And we're going to start from this edge over here. I'm going to straighten everything out, load this under my needle, and I'm going to pull my arm off for this because we're getting into like a smaller circle here. It'll make it easier. And 1/2 inch away is what I'm going to do, where I'm going to sew. So that gives me room to finish my seam there. I'm going to start just a little bit away from the edge in the area where there's no overlap, and then slowly just start feeding it into the machine. And if you have a border where the fabric is folded over like this, try and skip that. Try and sew to the other side of that. I don't want to get rid of it because the less fraying and toweling that I have coming off of this thing, the better. But it's not going to do you a whole lot of favors if you just sew through it because it's just going to make it harder. And you're just going every few inches, stopping, realigning, proceeding. Okay, I've got a little bubble coming up, so I'm going to pull this out, straighten it out. On fabrics like this, sometimes I find it's easier to reach through the neck of my machine and just, or the throat of my machine, and kind of guide it. I'm not pulling it, I'm just guiding it so that it continues to go through smoothly. Attaching a hood, we're attaching a hood to our poncho towel that I'm probably gonna wear and embarrass my daughter. I mean, I bought a matching, not a matching towel, but a towel, another Kate Spade towel that would be for me. I probably should put a hood on it, don't you think? I can't wait for them to try these out. I am all about trying to make my life easier at the pool because 3 kids and 1 mom can be a little bit overwhelming. And luckily, like my bigger 2 are big enough to really be helpers now. But when they were all little, whoo, that was a workout. For moms in that part of life, I feel you, girls. Shooey. All right, keep on going. We're almost there. Okay, I'm gonna go off just a little bit here. Back stitch. So now our hood is attached. Look at that. Looks really good. Oh, it looks like a little strawberry top. Oh, that's cute. Now I'm going to fold it back down. I'm going to show you a few stitches of how I would do this on my machine if I was using a sewing machine. And then I'm going to take it back over to the serger and like serge it. But here's what you could do. Lay it under. Set your machine to a zigzag stitch. Probably a pretty wide one. So we'll put it at like 6. And the way that you would finish your seams here is letting your needle fall off the right side and then fall into the fabric on the left side, which is going to essentially wrap itself around your fabric. And that's what keeps it from fraying. So let me back stitch this and show you how that looks. Okay, so you've got like a tiny bit of where it came off, but you can trim that and then it won't fray beyond that. It's done now because you covered it up. And this is a perfectly acceptable and fine way of finishing this hooded poncho. Okay, I'm going to do it on my serger because it's a little bit more secure, but there's no shame in this option whatsoever. Okay, let's go to the serger. I'm going to run it through and then probably try this one on too because I'm feeling crazy. So yeah, they make non-oversized bath towel or beach towels, and then they make oversized ones. So for a toddler, I would recommend the non-oversized one because I ended up having to cut a bunch of that thing off anyway at the bottom so that he wouldn't trip on it, which was the whole point of this from the beginning. So I'm going to load this in. I'm going to start a little bit to the left of where this area is just to, I don't know why, just because I feel like it. And I'm going to let the serger cut off all that excess fabric. You can see that it does make it a little quicker when you do it this way. So if you are ready to invest in a serger, my recommendation is always and will always be the Brother 1034D. It's my favorite machine for beginners. It's very easy to thread. It's a workhorse. It will last you forever. All it asks is for a little bit of oil once every few weeks. And in the manual, it shows you exactly where to put that. Love that machine. And there's so many how-to videos, which is really nice. Good, good, good. Almost there. I'm going to show you my trick for sewing in my serged seams because it is a fun little trick. Now there's controversy about finishing your serged seams, and what I'm talking about is this little tail. A lot of people just cut it off, and the argument is from people is, I think for people who just want to argue a lot, honestly, is, oh, well, your serging can come unraveled then, like you're not finishing the serging. Which I get to a certain extent. But if I'm being honest, I've never had a serged seam come unraveled ever. Maybe I just don't put them through enough stress. I don't know. But if you want to, and this is good to know as well if you're like going to sell it or you're trying to make it look more professional with the finishing, this is good to know. So take a large-eyed embroidery needle, and it can be a blunt end. Mine is pretty blunt. It's not sharp. And we're going to load the tail into that large eye, and that's why you want that really large eye because it's 4 total threads, which can be kind of a lot. Okay, and then you're just going to sew the tail back into your seam through those top loops of your serging, maybe about 1 inch in, and then snip it, and then you don't have that little serge tail anymore, and it's nice and clean looking. That's just a fun little tip for you. I like to give you tips and tricks along the way. All right. Should I put this on? I'm going to take my microphone off because I feel like you probably can't hear me. I will just hold it to talk to you from here on out. This feels weird. I should attach it to something. People in the videos always attach theirs to something. I don't know if I have anything. Let's see. I found something. I look like Bob Barker. The price is right. Come on down. Okay, I'm going to put this on. Y'all, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'll put this down and then I'm going to put the poncho on and then I'll pick it back up. Now, Now I'm gonna cut off this little sheet. Is very sensitive to tags and all that junk, so we're gonna cut Tommy off here. Let's try it on. She would be mortified if I wore this at the pool. Oh, but it's so comfortable. And you look like a strawberry. So there you have it, friends. Your poolside poncho made from a beach towel and just a regular like towel for your bathroom. How do I look? I am so wearing this to the pool one day just to make her mad. All right. So you got your hood, and then when you turn around, got lots of room. Now you don't have to wear the hood up. I look like one of those guards from Alice in Wonderland where they wear those big like cards or whatever on their body. You know what I'm talking about? So there you have it, friends. A beach poncho, technically for a child, but as you can see, fits an adult perfectly fine. It's very beginner friendly. I showed you how to do it on the serger and your sewing machine, so whatever you've got on hand, you can make one of these. Remember, it doesn't have to be an expensive towel. In fact, the first time you make it, use an old towel so that you get the hang of what you're doing, and then you can make really nice ones out of better towels. Okay, friends, thanks again for following along today. I'm Chelsea with She Sews Seams. I'll see you next time for more craziness. Okay, love you, bye.